You're listening to Jonesy and Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Jonesy and Brown show. By my side is my co-host, Mr. Mike Jones. What's good, brother?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I am all right, man. I am feeling good, man. Philadelphia Eagles on another long winning streak.
Longest
Beating,
team history.
yes, sir. Beating the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, we got the Commanders coming up. So we're going to talk Eagles and Commanders. Got a good guest, good friend of the show making her return to the show. So we're looking forward to that.
I want to do something though. Before we move on to Washington,
Okay.
let's talk about a little bit about what we saw this past week against Pittsburgh.
Yes. Let's talk about that. Yes.
Because leading up to that game, there was a lot of conversation about the Eagles' passing game.
Yes.
We'll start with simple one.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel after watching the game Sunday?
Well, I admit that I was not as critical as of particular people as others have been. I saw the words that were said after the Carolina game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the comment that kind of sparked the talk, the chatter, or whatever was a little more wide-ranging than a lot of people. There were people who took A.J. Brown's comments after the Carolina game and kind of took it to mean one person in particular, one person more than others, whatever. I thought it was more of a collective issue, but in the end, I took it personally as asking someone, how can a good team improve?
Mm-hmm.
You've won 9 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
How can you get better? Because I think
that was the direct question.
Yes. How can a team that has won 9 games get better? Because at some point in time, not only are you battling the other teams in the division, but you also want to battle complacency.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to necessarily start to cruise, especially if there are issues. So personally, I thought that there was A.J. Brown was asked, how can things get better? He said passing. Mm-hmm. I thought the quarterback could be better. I thought the play calling could be better. I thought there was, like I said, I thought it was more than one particular issue. But I thought both of them were better in that Steelers game. To me, I believe that I saw an Eagles team that I wasn't surprised by what I saw. I don't think that the Eagles necessarily played outside of their expectations. I believe that they can play like that. I believe what we saw it wasn't an exception. It wasn't like I wasn't shocked by what I saw. I don't know. So let me ask you, does that answer your question? I know
does.
Okay.
It does answer my question. So, and I think that's a fair reaction from you. I'll say that first. Mm-hmm. So, if you recall last week, I said I didn't necessarily think A.J. Brown was taking a shot at the quarterback as much as just giving an honest answer about where there was room for improvement. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was as big a deal as everyone made it to be. Mm-hmm. Although I do think Brandon Graham's comments threw a little gas on the fire.
Yeah.
more than AJ's actual comments themselves. That being said, to answer Jalen Hurts' question, yes, this is what I wanted to see. Because we've seen it before. Whether or not 2022 was Hurts' ceiling or he has room to be even better than that, it's none of us can deny that he wasn't quite playing up to the level he had before. So it's saying that he could be better. That's not a knock on him. That's we've seen you be better, and we want that consistently. There were still a couple times where I felt maybe he was a little gun shy holding the ball too long. But even with that, his average time to release was down a full second from his last week versus his average on the season. That's a big difference in the NFL. A full second. That means he's getting, whether he wasn't seeing the field or he was gun shy because he was scared to turn it over or whatever it was, he was more willing to let it rip this week, and it worked. The other thing I would say is that early in a lot of games, those first quarter struggles, people will say, oh, well, they run the ball early. That's not necessarily true. No. A lot of those games, they would start out passing and very quickly transition to the run because Hurts had started the game 1 for 4, 0 for 3, 1 for 5, something like that. He had been off to slow starts this season. That did not happen this week. He started out, I want to say, 8 for 8 in the first quarter. I know he was at least 8 for 8. I'm not sure how far, don't remember exactly how far it went. But when he starts 8 for 8 and the defense still knows you've got that offensive line and Saquon Barkley, this team can't be beat. And with this defense, this running game, these weapons, when the quarterback plays at the level he did this past week, we don't need him to be Tom Brady, Prime Pat Mahomes or Peyton Manning or anything else. We just need him to be as close to the best level of Jalen Hurts as possible, which we saw this past week. And when we get that, this team can't be beat.
I feel like this coaching staff really put Jalen Hurts in a position to succeed.
Absolutely.
And I think part of it was, yes, you can say he made plays that he needed to make in order to succeed, but there were plays being called, the tempo in which they played, when they went up tempo, when they went no huddle, all of that plays into it. Like you said before, there were times when at the beginning of games this season, that the offense kind of seemed disjointed. Where you know that most offenses start with a set number of scripted plays. They run their scripted plays. They see what works. They see what haven't worked, and then they make their adjustments for the rest of the game. And I feel like this Eagles team is kind of fell back on the idea that this running game is always going to be there. In the end, we're going to have this offensive line, and we have Saquon Barkley. We know that we can pound the rock with him whenever. So let's see what we can get offensively with this passing game. But I feel like in this particular Steelers game, the game plan was a little bit better. You saw plays designed for him to get the ball out quicker. When you saw holes in the defense, you saw them rush to the line. You saw plays where you had Devontae Smith running over the middle. Put Devontae in the slot, making quick passes to him. Think what jumps out to maybe, I want to say it was the third play in the game. Had about a 20-yard gain to Devontae Smith. I really liked the game plan. I felt like when A.J. Brown talked about passing, it was about quarterback play was about play calling. And both of those were addressed on Sunday. Both of those look good on Sunday. Both of those look better on Sunday. And then in the end, yes, you know what? Saquon didn't necessarily, go crazy. But in the end, you still saw a 10.5-minute drive in that fourth quarter. You literally, if you watch that game, you saw the soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers being taken from their body when they punted that ball in the fourth quarter, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they never saw it again.
Mm-hmm.
You watched
10-minute drive,
a 10-minute drive. That was the soul of a team getting sucked from them.
Yeah, if you pull off a 10-minute 21-play drive to finish a game, you are the bully.
Yes,
you are at that point. You're physically able to dominate a team in order to do it, to pull off a drive like that. And be honest, for most of this season, specifically since the bye week starting in week 6, I felt like this team has played like the bully.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, after seeing how they looked from week 6, 7, 8, I felt better about Sirianni's early decisions in those first 4 weeks where he was going for it in some of those situations, because it began to feel like, oh, he was establishing a culture of, we're the bully, we're going to hit you in the mouth and you can't stop us.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of it, to me, was the part that was already there.
Mm-hmm.
The part that needed a little, I don't want to say it was missing, but could have used a little polishing, was the part where you're not finishing the games, but building leads and really going after teams early. Those slow starts, missing some throws, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But because it allowed teams to, well, nobody was able to really shut Saquon down, but it allowed teams to focus on our running game more. I guarantee you, going into this Washington game, they're watching that tape like, oh man, what are we supposed to do now?
Mm-hmm.
You can't put 8 in the box when Hurts is playing this way, because if you do, we saw what happens.
Exactly.
You can't play a light box against this team, because we've been seeing that all year, what happens when you play with a light box.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's literally no way to stop this offense when they're clicking on all cylinders. Excuse me. While early people thought people like me who were critical of Hurts were haters, no. We've seen him play better than this before, and that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
We're not asking him to be something he's not. We're just asking him to be the best version of himself more consistently.
No, and so let me ask you this, because this is a conversation for the critics, not the haters. Because the haters and the critics are two different people. Let's separate that right now.
You have haters critics, are gonna hate no matter what.
Yes, haters are gonna hate.
There are some haters out there.
Yes. So let me ask you this: do you feel like Jalen and the Eagles, because the talk since Sunday was that Jalen and the Eagles, they came out and they silenced the critics? Do you agree with that?
Silenced, I won't go that far. Because the criticism was never that he's incapable of doing this. It's the consistency with which you see it. So this is a great start. It puts the criticism on hold for a while.
Yes.
But to silence the critics, we need to see it a little more consistently.
Okay. Do you need to see a Super Bowl win to be silenced?
No. Because now, if you remember, during 22 season, the Super Bowl run, I started that year with a lot of questions. I was never scared to be critical. And as that year went on, he answered almost all of my questions that I had that year.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back into the next season, there wasn't much criticism of Hurts. It was, I'd never seen it. The talk on Hurts was, I'd never seen a quarterback improve that much that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the talk was going into 23 about Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
He brought the criticism back with his play. So it doesn't necessarily take a Super Bowl run, just take some consistency in his play.
Mm-hmm.
We get that. Like, for example, and I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but a guy like Joe Burrow, his team is losing this year. But he's avoided criticism because individually, his play has been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
You look at his numbers, you watch him on the field, he's doing amazing things. His team just stinks because they don't have any defense. If the Eagles come in next season and Hurts is doing the same thing, playing consistently well, and the defense is giving up 40 points, I'm not criticizing Hurts, I'm criticizing the defense.
Yeah. You once again, you are not criticizing Hurts, you're criticizing the defense. But you also know
talking about the critics.
Yeah, we're talking about the critics. Yeah, no, I understand.
About
but
the critics,
there will be a slight pivot in a second. But however, but to your point, yes, you will be talking about Hurts. You will be talking about the defense, not Hurts. If their situation was similar to what's going on in Cincinnati.
Correct. So, for that standpoint, to answer your question, no, I don't think the critics have been silenced, but they've definitely been muted for a little while.
I hope so. And because honestly, the critics, the true critics, are the ones who are willing to fall back to say, hey, you know what? I had questions of whether or not Jalen Hurts could do A, B, and C, and against a good team in a nationally televised game, he did A, B, and C. So let's move forward because now you have another good team coming in. Let's see if he can do A, B, and C, or quite frankly, maybe he might not have to. Maybe DC comes in with a different game plan, and then you see a shift back to Saquon Barkley. Because it could be like Jalen Hurts does not have to necessarily put up the numbers that he put up against Pittsburgh against DC. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he regressed. That doesn't necessarily mean he struggled. He could just be taking what a defense gave him.
Mm-hmm. And remember, like when I said this last week, it's not really about passing volume that we're looking for. It's maximizing those attempts that are there.
Yep.
Cut down on those sacks because you held the ball. When your receivers do flash open, pull the trigger. That's all. What I didn't need them to call 40 pass plays. Yep. They could call 25 to 30 pass plays, cut out the sacks, cut out the holding the ball, pull the trigger, and that works.
No, I hear you. So as of right now, what you're saying is Mike Jones is good.
I'm good.
Mike Jones, you are good. Mike Jones is good. That's what you're saying.
Mike Jones is good right now.
All right. See, I needed that. I need good Mike Jones right now.
Oh, that's what I came in hot last week.
You did come in hot, and I
feel good this week.
I let you cook last night. I let you cook. You were pretty frustrated, and you saw it different than I did because I'm still hey man, you know what? I was one of them people who was like, hey man, they won. Yes, they could have been better. I saw it all. I watched the same game y'all did, but they won. Last week wasn't the Super Bowl, so it's like all right.
But people like me have a Super Bowl standard for this team. This team is good enough to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Say that again. Say that one more time.
This team is good enough to win the Super Bowl. This isn't a team we're looking at and say maybe they can make the conference championship game or maybe they can make the Super Bowl. This team can win the conference championship game. They can make it to the Super Bowl and they can win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That's right now, this team is that good.
There is no true juggernaut in the NFC this year.
Yes, there is.
You think Detroit's the juggernaut?
No.
Oh. Well,
the Eagles are the juggernaut.
The Eagles are the juggernaut. Okay. There's no true juggernaut that the Eagles have to face.
Nope.
In the
San
NFC.
Francisco's taking a step back this year.
Yep. San Francisco might not even make the playoffs.
Detroit's whole defensive roster. I'm just thinking about teams that have been looked at as the juggernaut in the NFC of the last year or two. Like San Francisco, they're banged up and taking a step back. Detroit's whole defense is on the IR. Detroit was the team that I looked at and said, yeah, they're on the Eagles level. But with 21 players on IR, there's just as much as a running team as the Eagles are. But theirs is a combination of Gibbs and Montgomery, the speed back and the power back, and their power back is now gone. The Eagles have the one back who is the speed and the power.
Yes. And they got a good backup, too.
Mm-hmm.
They got a good backup. Gainwell has gotten it done, man. He has provided a good change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to have some really good runs on Sunday. I liked the way he played, and that helped make it easier, and an easier pill to swallow to see Saquon not necessarily have the success that he has had in previous weeks. Mm-hmm. You saw what Gainwell did.
You saw the running game still function.
Yeah, the running game was fine. It was like Saquon did not put up big numbers, but the rushing game was fine. Your quarterback was able to run 15 times and get good yardage.
Mm-hmm.
Your backup running back was able to break some good runs and spell Saquon in some critical times. Plus, once again, you're not going to have a 10.5-minute drive in the fourth quarter if your running game ain't on point.
Exactly.
Ain't but so many screen passes you can throw to have a 10.5-minute drive. Watch the soul come out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was satisfying. That was gratifying. You watch the soul come out that team on Sunday.
And with all this talk about the offense and all the skill positions and what they can do when they're clicking on all cylinders, let us please never fail to mention what Vic Fangio's defense is doing out there.
Yes.
Because these dudes are the real deal.
Yes. All right.
I'm about to say something that I don't know that I've ever said in my life. At least I know I definitely haven't said it since Jim Johnson, for sure, maybe as far back as Buddy Ryan. Linebacker play is a strength of this defense.
Yeah.
Not just that it's adequate, it's a strength of this defense. The D-line, that's always, that's Eagles' bread and butter. Yes. D-line, O-line, we're always going to be built there. Secondary, we've had some good ones. We've had some not so good ones. But we've seen really good secondaries in the last, in recent years. The linebacker core. When's the last time you saw a linebacker play this good from the Eagles?
Honestly, consistently like this, probably since Trot.
That's what I mean. Like in 22 with TJ Edwards and Kazir White, they were solid.
They were solid. Like they've had solid linebackers.
In 17 with Jordan Hicks and Nigel Bradham, they were actually
solid,
good until then Jordan Hicks went down with the injury. Bradham held it down, but they were solid.
Yeah, solid. And I think what's different about this linebacking core, especially if they give Zach Bond his money, they pay that man. You're also looking at Nakobe Dean, and you know that Nakobe Dean is going to be here for a while, and that's something that is probably one of the most encouraging things. Like, okay, this has
say this. I hope Nakobe Dean is here for a while. He's in year 3. Mm-hmm. He was a 3rd round pick, I believe. And which means his rookie deal is 4 years. Mm-hmm. The Eagles going to have to start talking extension with him soon.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true.
And our track record is we don't pay these dudes. Mm-hmm. So I hope Nakobe Dean is here for a long time. I don't want to see him go anywhere.
I feel like in this post Super Bowl era, we have seen more of a willingness from Howie Roseman to go away from what has been his conventional thinking.
Absolutely.
So hopefully, as Nakobe Dean comes up for an extension, they will see the value. I think this has been a team that has shown a willingness to listen to the players. There's no way you have all them Georgia Bulls on the front line and them not saying, "Hey, you need to take care of Nakobe Dean too."
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way you're going to go into a locker room, with Dean, with Davis and Carter and Smith, and be like, "Yeah, we had to let him go." And you most certainly don't want to lose Dean in a Saquon Barkley type deal. Don't want to see him going anywhere in the division or anything.
Absolutely not.
But we need to move forward because it's time to talk this Sunday's game. And we have a guest. It's been a long time. I'm not sure if she's been on the Jonesy and Brown show. I've had her on the Best in the World Sports Report. Pretty sure we've talked.
On.
She's been on.
I'm not sure we were.
We were Jonesy and Brown. Yeah, it could have been offense, defense. We had about 17 different podcasts with the same 2 hosts. But it's the first. I do believe in the 84 shows that we have done as Jonesy and Brown, this is the first time that we have had her on this show. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us bring to the stage our good friend from D.C., Mykell Ramos, Morgan State alum, fellow Morgan State alum, saw her down at homecoming. We was hanging out. We was at the tailgate. It was a beautiful thing, man. Mike Jones, I gotta bring you down to Morgan State's homecoming one year, man. Come hang with your boy real quick.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make that happen. Mykell, what's going on, my friend?
Yeah, we were at homecoming. A very different campus than we were used to.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
The campus that I know was definitely not the campus that you know, but we're all family at the end of the day.
Yes, the time was had though, man.
And the time was had. I can't wait till next year.
One, I have to admit, I am glad to see Rolling with Ramos back. Congratulations on bringing that show back. I missed it while it was gone. We are glad it's back. Tell us what's going on with the Rolling with Ramos podcast.
Just wrapped up our last episode a week ago. We had on Quinn Lowe and Alan Washington from Sports Q&A. If you like them, they're gonna be they're at least gonna be on once a month. So me and Tristan's still kicking. He allowed me to call him back. I took a hiatus for a minute and was able to come back. That show has done so many tremendous things for me as far as being able to tell my own story and be in front and let people see things through my eyes as far as sports, and just hoping 2025 allows it to get a little bit better. It's nice to see that you said that you missed it while you was gone. I was a little nervous as to how people will be receptive of it with me coming back, and everybody's welcomed us with open arms, and just bigger the guests, bigger the fun, bigger the laughs. We do sports, but we keep it pretty interesting.
No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Definitely.
So let's go ahead and get into it a little bit. You are from Washington, and we've got Eagles and, let me say this right, the Commanders I'll be respectful. You got Eagles and Commanders this week.
And look, Commanders, Redskins, Washington football team, whatever you want to throw at us. Hell, I was kind of sad when Washington football team left. If we was going to cop out and not have a name, we are the team from D.C. The Washington football team fit. The Commanders came out of nowhere. So all three of them I'm a fan of, okay?
Yeah, that's way too bad. That's way too bad. You know, fan of that
all
team.
All three of them.
Mm-hmm. So I guess my question is, if, 9 wins already on the season, came out looking good. What for you? You have been watching this team all season, and what has made this season different? Is it just new quarterback, new coaching staff? What about it is different from Commanders teams we've seen in the past?
I mean, first it's just the overall from the top to the bottom. You in an organization where upstairs hasn't kept itself, in the booth hasn't kept themselves together, and then on top of the reflection on the field not being what it's supposed to be, it's in total chaos. For the first time in a long time, it's like you have the separation of city and state. You got to separate, like, you guys do what you're supposed to do up there. Keep yourself up there. You only see Josh Harris on the field after the game. Other than that, he keeps his behind where he's supposed to be. He let Magic talk to him and be the businessman that Magic is, and they keep it separate. And then they let the people that's supposed to be on the field doing the job on the field do what they're supposed to do. You got to credit Dan Campbell. I mean, the way he's been able to speak to these guys, and it's one thing to coach, but when you see people buying into you and you see a leader of men on that sideline, Cliff Kingsbury, what he's been able to do, a lot of what we're seeing with a lot of these young quarterbacks now is there is no time of development. You put them right in and then you expect them to be Eli Manning Peyton Manning, and not all of them can do that. You need Justin Fields sitting behind Russell Wilson. You need the development in the process. And then if it doesn't work out, you're saying that Anthony Richardson is a bust. No, you don't have the Sam Darnolds and the Genos of the world and without time to sit back, relax, look and see how this is and figure it out. And a lot of people said the offense for the Commanders was an offense that was totally based on a collegiate offense. Hey, I'm going to play to your strengths. I saw what you can do when you're doing it, how you're doing it. We've watched the film at LSU. So what we're going to do is do what you do and then just continue to add on each week and build another barrier. And that's what they've been able to do. And to see it all starts with at the quarterback position. Been 26, 27, 28 different quarterbacks. I can't even name you one. I mean, shout out to RG3, but I still can't name something that I've been totally proud of, and how beautiful is it to see, if you're from the nation's capital, that a Black quarterback again is doing well in the nation's capital. But the beauty of the whole thing also is just energy. I could swing my arms back and forth every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in defeat and in winning, because you gradually say to yourself, every game is a growing experience and a learning experience. We were not supposed to be here. Hell, nobody expected us. Everybody's upset about, you can't beat a team over 500. You can't do this. But hell, we wasn't even supposed to beat teams below 500. This season was not supposed to be how this season was. We're staring at 2-10, 3-9. Not even. This is the first time in a long time we ain't even in a hunt. We the second row and when it comes to the playoffs, we got the wild card spot. It's just up for us to keep it, And it's just energy, You got Terry McLaurin looked like he got a Kool-Aid smile on his face every Sunday, every Thursday night. Like, to be able to see somebody that didn't deserve, that us as an organization didn't deserve them, and he became a whole professional, never talked crazy about the organization, the coaching, or anything. He's reaping those benefits. It feels like it's Sunday. I'm happy it's always Sunday now.
I hear you. Go ahead, man.
You use the word energy. I don't really want to spend a lot of time dwelling on past regimes and such, but How much
You
of
can.
how much of that difference in energy do you think directly traces back to the new ownership as opposed to the
Well,
old
like I said,
regime?
Dan Snyder, he made the team into what he made the team is. He damn sure took a lot of money with him when he sold the team. But I'm glad he got, in true Philly fashion, him and Bruce Allen could get the Jazzy Jeff Heave-Ho. There's nothing wrong in D.C. What the hell are you looking at? Anytime I see Bruce Allen, it's a big misunderstanding. And for them two to be gone, and it just feels like the cloud has just separated. And then there's this rainbow. Again, energy. You got people that know how to run a front office, that know how to be up there and just stay up there. They understand that the parts of the field have nothing to do with them. I'm going to go get the NFL minds that know how to do football, get a coaching staff, get a development team, get people that just know how to do their jobs. So if they know how to do their jobs up there and everything's separated, and then the icing of the cake, what makes it even better to have new energy, and as far as having a new regime, the icing on the cake is that the play on the field is just good. So you can totally see the transitioning of an organization to whereas going back to RFK isn't just for reliving glory days. It's for continuing a legacy now. You're looking at a situation where I went through the dog days of watching this team just be in the mud, where my children may have, because they will be Commanders fans. My children will be able to see possibly a team of surges, a team that's in the conversation. You know, a lot of people, you could talk a lot of junk, and you could talk about the Commanders and the Redskins and who they were, and they did this and they did that. But when you talk about the team from DC, you talk about a legacy that's very pertinent. You talk about a legacy that's very rich. You talk about winners. Only team in NFL, the first team in NFL to have a black quarterback win. Shout out to Chocolate City. Like Joe Gibbs, God rest his soul, Sean Taylor, our secondary needs you, but we getting there. You know, guys like Santana Moss. You're talking about players that have gone through this team and have been good. It's just it never came from the top down and trickled down. If my parents are happy and my parents are coexisting and doing what they can do together, I'm gonna be one damn happy kid. And that's what you're looking at as far as the dice and everything, domino effect of what's going on in the nation's capital. Everything just feels good. Now, the basketball team is another subject, but I'd rather have a good football team, okay? It's either one or the other.
In order to provide some I guess some context to this and some perspective, because we're sitting here and we're listening to you sing the praises of a new ownership, and for us it makes us, on Jonesy and I, who are on the outside looking in, particularly on the outside looking in from the city of Philadelphia, it makes us wonder, it's like, wow, how bad was Daniel Snyder that y'all are happy to see Josh Harris? Because I can tell you right now, at any given moment, whenever we decide to end this podcast tonight, Josh Harris could run out of Philly. There are plenty of people sick of him up here. And to see
Sixers fans,
Sixers fans are happy that y'all are happy with Josh Harris, because he's like, because they're like, look, y'all can have him. So,
well, I mean, it's a difference. It's a difference of a dichotomy for sure. I mean, I know y'all sick of that process. That process should be a 30 for 30, because it's going to go down as one of the most bust. And Joel Embiid, it's like, what else do you need? You know? And
we can have a long conversation.
That's a whole new show.
I mean, everything that everybody touches is not golden. I mean, let's be real. Not everything in Philly has been. It's hard to be in Philly. Hell, if you ain't winning, from Delaware down, you won't see a Philadelphia Eagles mouse pad. But at the same time, you know, you guys have been through. At least you guys have been in transitions where you could appreciate, or it looks like it's going in a particular direction and it's nice, and you can have faith in the fact that you are faithful. I've loved this team since I was old enough to even know what football team. And can you imagine the roller coaster of years? I've never seen the Joe Gibbs era except on NFL film. I haven't seen Doug Williams play. I've seen RG3. I've seen guys like Heineke. I haven't seen that. I've seen Albert Hainsworth, Kirk Cousins. I've seen Albert Hainsworth contract. These big blockbuster contracts that don't go through. Now our cap salary is up the roof, and who the hell wants to come to DC? This is the first time in years where free agency hit, and guys were telling their agents, we want to go play in DC. Marshawn Lattimore is not even an ideal situation if this is a year, 2 years ago. He don't give a damn about coming to DC, but it looks good. It looks like a place, an environment where the employees are respected. Nothing, and people, you got a good job when your ass want to go to work, when you feel good about doing what you want to do, and you could do it without the money even being there. But I don't feel like I need 89 coffees and some type of drink before I walked in work Monday morning. This is good. The radio stations, the television stations, everybody's reporting and everybody's just in high praise and hope. Now, do you hope this can continue? Like I said, I'm not saying everything that Josh Harris has touched in this has been going, and I know that you guys are on the fence with it. But what he's been able to do in DC as far as just leveling the playing field. In all retrospect, he's done that in Philly. He's made us a base where I'm just going to be the guy with the money, and I'm going to pay everybody else to do what they're supposed to do. Now, is it my fault if nobody else do what they're supposed to do?
That is true.
And fortunately for us, it's worked. You got the biggest businessman as far as Magic Johnson. Players want to come to work because they're just excited to see Magic Johnson in their meetings. The star appeal, the appeal. Everybody wanted to joke. I had a couple of Cowboys fans that wanted to joke with me. Oh, Jay-Z only came to the game because he's a Cowboy fan. He came to DC to see them. Jay-Z ain't never stepped foot in the nation's capital unless he was getting money doing in a concert. He was coming to Capital One Arena. Other than that, we have never seen him. But you know why he was there? Josh Harris, business people. Then you go get it. Even if he was there to see the Cowboys, he does not step into Northwest Stadium. So even things of that nature. Kevin Durant's coming back, wants to be a part of the stakes in it. I ain't seen LeVar Arrington in years. Now he's on the field. Like, even the faithful want to come back and be a part of the organization. Everybody wants a chance to be happy in seeing something that's been a mudslide, a volcano that's just erupted year after year after year after year, just be stable. The toxicity is just unreally gone, lawfully gone.
So good vibes in DC from the ownership down. Let's talk about what's going on the field.
Yeah.
How surprised is DC with the trajectory that your young quarterback is on to this point? Was he expected to be this good this soon? Better? A little, like, where is he compared to what expectations?
I mean, let's be real. This is a quarterback-driven league. If you don't have a quarterback, what else you going to do? This is not a league where you just need the quarterbacks to sustain and the defense take care of it. No, you need the Joe Burrows of the world. You need guys like Russell Wilson. You need that type of caliber. Hell, I don't care what we expected him to be. This is who he is and what he's done. At this point, it's not even after the first 2-3 games. You say, "Oh, this is nice. This could be something." It's something. Now I'm a little bit worried about next year. Because you already see it in the sense of the season, especially when you play those defenses that are higher caliber and elite. when you already know within this check down system and how they're playing Jaden Daniels, what he's going to do. People have already figured him out a little bit. They figured out the offense. So now there needs to be another tier to it that kind of throws it off and changes the parameters. Now you got a whole year looking at this guy. How's the second year going to be? You know, what now it's time to up the game and add more to his repertoire. I think what everybody needs to understand and what people need to be clear about, especially when understanding the faithful of DC and how everybody's just excited about this, it is what it is, okay? We not questioning it. We didn't know who the hell he was going to be. It's nice to have a generational quarterback. I'm not saying this is the quarterback right now. Look at all these benching that happened this week. Our guy is playing, you know, playing through rib injuries, hopefully staying healthy, you know, which please, I pray. But, you know, you're in a situation where we can look down the line and see the trajectory of the future in a sense where you didn't even know where the hell this team was going from a quarterback position. I mean, there was just so many of them. I think Terry's played with 11 different in a 5-year span. This man, 5-6 year span, this man ain't even been in the league that damn long. And still putting up 1,000 yards with people that he didn't even know if they was going to have a badge the next year. So,
Did you say McLaurin has played with 11 different quarterbacks?
It's about 11, 12, 10, 11, 12.
Bruh.
That lets you everything know.
I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Jaden Daniels is good. He's going to be a record. Hey, offensive rookie of the year. Pin it. He's going to be here. He's going to be something in this league sustainable. He's already doing things, and you're like, wow, how can he even? How is it? And it's beautiful.
At what point this season did you start to realize that Daniels could be the real deal?
I mean, everybody talks about those games that we haven't won that's been over 500, but those teams has been over 500. But at the time we played the Bengals, first of all, you're playing the Bengals in prime time. We don't do well in prime time. Every time it doesn't work out. You're playing them in prime time. You're playing a Bengals team where everybody's never nervous about them because you're like, oh, they always start off at 0-2. They always pick it up as the season goes along. But you are playing a desperate Bengals team with all their weapons. Nobody was hurt. There's T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. He ate that secondary up. That's okay. Jamar Chase. There's T. Higgins there. Joe Burrow is dropping about 200-300 yards. And you go into Cincinnati and you beat them in Cincinnati on prime time.
Nah, that's real.
That throw he made to McLaurin, that deep throw he made to McLaurin with a blitzing safety in his face, and the poise to do that. That's poise to do that and understand. And what's beautiful about him is he's gonna make mistakes, but the mistakes he's making are colossal. It's a mature sense of, oh, I gotta slide or I gotta throw the ball out. I can't hold on to this, but I'm going to take the shot if I look at the arm, blitzing safety in his face and drills it. Like, that's the game I said, oh, hell, it all might break loose now.
Oh, we got one. They were down there thinking, oh, we got one now. We got one.
Got him.
There has definitely, oh, go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, like, Washington's improvement in some ways makes me happy, because it just pushes the Cowboys further down the ladder in division. But the other side of it is, going forward, I honestly believe Washington's in a position to be real competition for the Eagles the next 3-4 years. The Eagles, we're pretty much set for the next 2-3 years with our roster. GM did a great job. I can see y'all with one strong offseason being right there to compete with us.
Yeah.
Is that...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Now I was going to say, like, do you all feel the same way about your team?
I mean, I, for one, wish the Dallas Cowboys were doing well. It's great they're not, because you obviously see a team that's not used to losing. So when we talk about what I said about separating the top from the bottom, I mean, Michael Parsons can walk off the field and be upset how he is when every time you turn around, there's a camera pointing at Jerry Jones and he looks like he damn near about to cry and is upset. Because from the up there down, you're seeing the trickle effect of what is being allowed in such in the organization. I grew up with the NFC East being boom, 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 boom. Being stacked and that competition level. And back in the day when we were making the playoffs, and it was either the Seahawks or the Buccaneers getting us out of the playoffs every year. Back when they had the all black one, shout out to Simeon Rice and Warren Sapp. All Star was the only one, and the quarterback that didn't look like us. But anyways, you remember the NFC East being a very competitive division, and you lost that over the years because the Commanders, we couldn't give anybody anything. I mean, you're used to the Cowboys being up at the top and being these regular season runaways, and then Philly was there. But even Philly, look at Jalen Hurts. You get that type of quarterback, things turn around, things change. Get a new coach. You're in a conversation to be in the Super Bowl conversation every year if you can keep everything intact and everybody getting along and everything like that. So coming into this game this Sunday, to our credit, we faced y'all after playing a Steelers team that, give or take an offsides, would have won that game. We played them on a Sunday, lost by 1, short week. We go into Philly on Thursday. We haven't had a bye the whole damn season. Took 14 weeks to get a bye. That team was gassed. That team was tired. We didn't have nothing to give y'all. Of course, that game
point
didn't
in the
look
year,
good.
nobody realized how good that Steelers team was.
Yeah. So you're not. I mean, and that's another thing to be proud of with how things are on the field. Those games, we're walking into Cincinnati. You're walking into Pittsburgh. We're walking into y'all, and we're saying, a year ago, we getting trashed. No, we just lost to the Steelers by 1. You would have told me a year ago we would have went to Baltimore and only would have lost by a touchdown. I would have told you were lying. You see progression even in defeat. This should be hopefully a good game coming up because you got the Commanders coming off a win that they desperately needed. First time in a long time that they can be on a streak on such proportions since 2011, 2012. And now you can face the Eagles team where, okay, you guys are at your best and we're looking like we're at our best. You caught us on an off week. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it looks.
So that's pretty much the perception of this game down in DC. I think a lot of times, especially when you're talking about division games, when you're talking about teams within a division, because very rarely do you see in this division, no matter who's where in the standings, do you see season sweeps. Yeah. You're usually splitting times. So when you do lose, you're like, when we play them again, it's going to be a different story.
Not a lot of sweeps and not a lot of blowouts in this division.
Yeah. So is that pretty much the perception down there in DC? Y'all took that L earlier in the season, but you're like, hey, they have to come back to DC, and when they come to DC, it's going to be different. Is that what y'all believe?
But I think that's the beauty of division games. I'll see your ass again. If this didn't happen, this didn't happen. The atmosphere is going to be a great one. I mean, first of all, we're back in the stands. I mean, you give us a couple of years, you're looking at the away team look like the home team. Philly's y'all gonna travel, y'all gonna come down and pack it up. We gonna pack it up. It's gonna be electrifying in there. And now you're gonna see the top 2 teams in the NFC East. How great would it be to not only keep that wild card spot, but not allow y'all to clinch the division in the same game?
No, that wouldn't be great at all. That would be terrible.
And nobody in hell expects that to happen. You got to talk about respect. And I've spoken a lot in the last couple of minutes about not being able to beat those teams over 500. I understand a lot of people saying that that's the Achilles heel of this team. Yeah, on one end you could say this is the growth. We're close to it. We just got to take a little It's just some more fine tuning. We're in these games. We're competitive, but people aren't believing the record. First of all, you play who's in front of you. So if we were losing to the Giants, it would be a whole nother problem anyway. But now that we can, but now the issue is if you're a top team in this league, you got to go out and beat one of these top teams in this league. This game is big, big proportions. It's the continuing road of continuing success with game respect. And like I said, the division's on the line. Y'all already in. We trying to hold on to the spot. Can we stop you from clinching? And can we give y'all faithful a chance to look at us in another light? We can't do it with Dallas. We still gotta beat Dallas. I don't know what the hell. I don't know why we they step brother and they can come in and just do what they do. But you gotta get those division games. You gotta get those type of respect games. And this is important. This is fire. This is elite.
So the question as we get ready to wrap things up, do you believe the Washington Commanders can beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday?
The sunrise on a Sunday? Where there's a God, there's a way. When there's a Christmas miracle, there's also a
now she out here preaching now.
Let me rephrase that question slightly. Not do you believe they can, do you believe they will?
I do believe they will. I do believe that there's a chance. I'm not, and I mean, I will say this though. Hopefully, Lattimore had a good game, but we got to get him more acclimated. You know, that defense is looking, it's picking up. But at the same time, if y'all are throwing like that, then we can't. There's nothing we can do to stop that. Especially, you know what I'm saying? And Saquon is Saquon. I think Saquon's evolution and him coming there and just having this chip on his shoulder, I think this team is very different even from the Super Bowl team that you have with a guy like him.
Absolutely.
We got to, so first off that, we got to stop the run. We got to at least give Saquon under 100 and then make you guys beat us in the air. And this is a big test for the defense. So I believe it. I think we will. I think it can be done. Am I going to be mad if it doesn't? No, because it's the Eagles. I mean, this is a very complete team. But to be a part of the conversation is a part of the conversation. But we have to win these games. It has to be something that becomes a chip on your shoulder on a season where everybody's saying, like the question you asked me when we started, is this season a fluke by chance? Is it real? I don't think nobody even know the damn answer. If we're being honest.
Now, I will say, I was talking to JB before you hopped on, and I was telling him that when Jalen Hurts is being efficient in the passing game, like he started out 8 for 8 against Pittsburgh last week, when the passing game looks like that, I don't think this Eagles offense can be stopped. And with the defense playing the way it is this year, this team is almost unbeatable. So for me, for Washington to have a chance this game, they need to slow Saquon down first so that Hurts has to become a volume passer. And then you have to force Hurts to turn it over.
Yeah.
If Hurts isn't turning it over in the passing game, if they're getting the ball to Brown and Smith and Goddard's out this week, Calcaterra, and those guys are getting the ball in the passing game, I don't see this team losing to anybody.
It starts on the ground. If Saquon can get it rolling, it's going to open so many lanes for everybody else. If you can keep Saquon at least 60, 70 yards, that makes the Eagles, and you have to make the Eagles, not only make the Eagles beat you in the air, you got to put the game in the coach's hands. And then it becomes, can Dan Campbell coach better? You know, this Sirianni, you know, because it's going to, if it comes down to the wire, that's basically what it is. You got to make him think of a different strategy. Because at this point, I mean, it's like the differential between looking at the Ravens and looking at, I think you guys and the Ravens have a similar issue because you have this big premier running back that left to come from another team to your team that changed the weaponry of your offense. So you guys were throwing the ball. You just didn't have a running attack that could be so detrimental and dangerous, on top of the fact that you run Jalen. So, and then Derrick Henry on the Ravens side, they're still trying to figure out how to acclimate him. Whereas what you guys are doing, the Ravens need to be doing. But somewhere, somehow, people started making all these conversations about how Lamar Jackson can't throw, and now he wants to do it from the pocket. He wants to show y'all, because y'all say every week he shouldn't be running. He want to show y'all, instead of doing what his God-given talent is, and do what he's supposed to do. So you guys have something that they're trying not to figure out. But the detriment to what's happened is your weaponry in the air has faltered. Because if I have a running back like that, you're damn right I'm running on the back of Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, which is kind of very contradictory to where this league is going. To be honest, we're talking about the MVP conversation with or without Eric Dickerson's record, which he's going to have to win MVP, because obviously we know what it is. And when Dickerson won it, he had to damn near shatter every record. But there's no way you can't look at this. I mean, I understand Lamar Jackson, and I understand all the talk about Josh Allen, but when you look at what Saquon has done in a league that has not really respected running backs, they didn't want to pay him a couple years. When you talk about what they've treated the running back position, basically saying, no, we can have a 3-headed running back core, and we don't need one. You obviously need that very important running back, and it's showing. Look at us and Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler rejuvenated himself coming over this way. So your ground attack
was a
has
huge
to be
year
stopped.
for free agent running backs.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, he turned Green Bay into a run-first offense. Austin Eckler found new life with you. Like, the league is relearning the value of running backs. And then the other thing I'm seeing is that a lot of teams with this pass-happy league the last 10, 15 years have shifted to faster, lighter linebackers. So when they give you a physical power running back, a Derrick Henry, a Josh Jacobs, a Saquon Barkley, they're going to have an advantage against a 220-pound linebacker who, he's great sideline to sideline.
Pass coverage.
But he's not built to play downhill.
Well, just as much as those conversations about the running quarterback. I know a lot of people didn't like that play that happened against Trevor Lawrence. At the same time, these quarterbacks are built. These quarterbacks are big guys that can run through you and stiff. How many times Lamar Jackson done made a defensive end a highlight reel with a stiff arm? You got to bring Josh Allen down. You got to tackle him. At this point, when they become runners, I can look for the slide, but if my momentum can't stop me, I have to do my job. And sometimes that's what you get. These guys got some strength now. So,
well, right.
This should be a good game. I hope it's a good game. I would hate to see, I for one don't want to see a rut. I want to see a good one. And for who we are and the division and our faces making the marquee matchups on Sundays, this is good. Let's have a good game.
I'll take an Eagles blowout though. I won't mind. I won't mind that at all.
Or a Commanders blowout. Hell,
nobody. I don't want no Commanders.
Jalen Hurts walking into the interview looking like he's straight off of South Philly. I mean, Kango had.
Man.
He was feeling himself. Okay?
He was feeling himself after that game
with the pure diamonds. You know what I mean?
Diamond
the pure diamonds, not the rented rapper kinds. The Kango. And then that's what y'all wanted to see, huh? That's what y'all was looking for, huh? He almost called out Mike Jones by name. He almost sat down and said, Mike Jones and Jonesy and Brown, that's what you wanted to see, isn't he? That's what you were looking for.
Yes, it was what I wanted to see.
Exactly. He was talking right to you.
First of all, Ramos, you can't blame the media when your own guys gave the media that information.
Man.
Stop it.
Yes, you can. You can absolutely blame them. You can have.
Thank you for being
He
rational.
out there running their mouth talking about y'all relationship. What do you think? What do you think we're going to do with that?
They asked that man.
Especially
they asked that
targets the last couple of weeks ain't been good on that. We're going to Come on,
That's the man who just won nine. That's the man who just won 9 games. How you can be better? That's not rational.
Go out there and throw the ball to him and at least make a complete pass. You don't want everybody to say that, and then your guy already exposing that y'all not getting along in the locker room. I think you want to take that internally because I got a job to do, so I'm gonna ask the damn question.
I hear you, I understand. It's not like it's not clicking. All I know is that was a team on a 9-game winning streak, not a 9-game losing streak. They asked him how he could be better. Hey, the passing game. Oh my God, it's terrible. Whole team's falling apart. What are we going to do?
Look on the bright side. At least it's not we're on a 10-game win streak and then we lose 1 game. And it's like, okay, the Eagles lost 1. Then they lose 2. Okay, they're losing 2. Next thing you know, you lost how many straight? Like last year, once one domino fell, it just kept falling, and you didn't know what was the problem.
There were no answers last year.
There was no answer to that.
Far more resilient, and the defense is significantly better than last year. Last year, Eagles defense, I could pretty much tell you every game they're going to expose us in the middle of the field with slot receivers and tight ends, and we're not going to be able to do anything about it. We'll make
you got a front four can't get any pressure. You got linebackers who can't cover anybody. The field's wide open. You got okay defensive backs, but they're a hamstring away from being not okay defensive backs. And so things are different, man.
The Eagles season runs off of Sirianni and his decision making and his ability to control the inside of this team.
But the decision to hire Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio is probably the best decision that he's made in a long time. So
stay out the stands. Stop arguing with the fans.
Man, if they got anybody can get it.
But
anybody can get it. Hey, man, whatever.
That's Philly sports.
Anyone can get it. Nick Sirianni will tell you anybody will get it.
It's really a love affair. That's y'all's love language.
The Eagles are undefeated since Nick Sirianni had to step into the fence and tell people what was what. They have not lost since.
Hey, that's
so
really a love affair.
If it all falls apart, then he has to go back into the stands and yell at another fan.
Another one.
They got to find another one. It's all good. Mykell, tell people where they can find you. People need to hear about Mykell Ramos.
Oh man, follow me at Mykell Sade. That's MYKELLSADE. Instagram, TikTok. We're still gonna have it in 25. Twitter at Mykell Ramos. Make sure you tune into your favorite sports podcast, Roaming the Airways, Rolling with Ramos. We would love to see you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Rolling, ROLLING, with Ramos, my last name. Shout out to my guy, my dad up there. That's the one that gave me the last name. Like I said, we keep it fun. We keep it interesting. Get on this train. Trust me. You won't be disappointed.
We're almost out of time, and my sweatshirt's in the other room. I would have grabbed it and just brought it up real quick because I still got my Rolling with Ramos sweatshirt. That hoodie is back. I love it. I got you. Mykell, thank you, my friend. Truly appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, hanging out with us for a little bit.
Good. Don't be a stranger. You know what's funny.
All right. We'll do. It's all right. You know what I mean? We got you. We'll take care of you, okay?
All right. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, once again, our good friend Mykell Ramos checking in. I can't believe that's the first time we've had her on Jonesy and Brown. We've had her, like you said, we had her on offense.
We had her on one of the iterations of our show.
Agree to disagree. All them shows. We had her on one of them. We hadn't had her on Jonesy and Brown. Yeah, but she'll definitely be back. We love her.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got to let us know what you thought of today's podcast. You got to hit us up. Facebook, Instagram, Twix, at BITW Sports, at Jonesy and Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out the Jonesy and Brown podcast. That is my man, Mike Jones.
That's John Brown.
We will check you all next week. Enjoy the sports. Well, you know what? We probably won't check you out next week because next week is the holidays. We'll check you out after the holidays. We'll come back and we'll get ready to wrap up this Eagles season because we'll be looking at the end pretty soon.
Which means we'll be getting ready to start talking a lot more Sixers. You ready for that, JB?
I might be ready to be upset. I think January. I don't think I told you I couldn't be mad at the Sixers all season long.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to January, I might, at the end of football season, I might be ready to have some anger. I might.
Well, I'll hold it down for you until then.
Okay. All right. We'll figure that all out together. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out the podcast. We'll check you guys out next time. Peace, y'all.
Peace.